brought out the knife hand for that one. Yes, sir. Good morning, I am the mainly digger. So good morning. I'm bored. I've been using or testing out my new gear. This is the baton, or I call it my baton. I don't know, collapsible, whatever you want to call it. The camera sits on here. Like, I'll work on my intro, make my intro more exciting. I'm not gonna do those. I will use one of those for this intro, just cause, but I'm gonna put the rest of them at the end of this. So look for the bloopers.
Before I start this video, let's talk about Operation Reboot Outdoors. Operation Reboot Outdoors is a nonprofit organization. This nonprofit organization has one mission, and it's to get veterans and law enforcement officers back out into the Maine woods, to take them hunting, fishing, just to get them out. Here's some of their merchandise. All profits from this merchandise go to their mission. Join the Reboot Nation. You can join the Operation Reboot Nation by subscribing to their channel on YouTube.
This video is about how to gain permission, especially during these times. During the pandemic, you can't talk to anybody unless they're 6 feet apart. Our Governor Mills, just put out, I think it was either the beginning of last week, so Monday, that it's Sunday today, that you can't go out. You're locked down, but there's other stipulations. 2 weeks before, where you could go out and wear masks and gloves, but now we're in lockdown.
So this is Maine's Governor Mills. I don't really like her politics or how she does stuff, but that's personal. And I don't like making fun of people's appearances that I don't know, but someone pointed out that she looks like Austin Powers, and I can't unsee. And what I mean by politics is not her political party. It's how she does things in politics. Well, years ago, when Governor LePage was still governor, he tried to make a nurse, stay in quarantine. And Governor Mills sued him for it, saying that it was unconstitutional. And now she's doing the exact same thing. That's what I mean by politics.
I'm still going out. We can still go out, but we're not like we can't go camping, but we can still go to Walmart. What is that? That's stupid. So if you know the laws way better than I do, please speak up, say something. This is what I know from my own experience, what I've looked up from my understanding. If it's different, please let me know. I don't like to give out wrong information. So Maine, like I've stated before, is different. Any state, and their laws are similar but different. So like when I was in Pennsylvania, I got kicked off the soccer field. Yes, it was public property, but it was donated public property. So I couldn't metal detect on the soccer field, but I could detect around the soccer field because there's a creek there. So I could detect on the creek's edge because it was either private property, which I had permission, or is public property, which I could detect on that part of the public property. I didn't debate it. I didn't really understand it. It sounded stupid to me, but all right, whatever. I'm still gonna do it because I don't like getting in trouble. Maine is different. If it's public, it's public. Like, you can pretty much do whatever you want on that property as long as it's legal and decent. And if it's posted, don't do it. Or if it says not to do it on a post sign, on a sign, don't do it. Because even in the state of Maine, each town has its own regulations for its public areas. So there is one place, it's an island in Fairfield, where it says not to metal detect on it. It says it right on the site. Cool, not gonna metal detect on it. But there's other places that are public property where you can metal detect. If it doesn't say anything about it, it's free game. You don't even have to ask. What you have to know about Maine law is if it's not posted, you're all right. but you have to check for that posting. That's the takeaway. You have to check for that posting. How I get my permissions is I email. I email a lot of people. Farms, I haven't had luck with farms yet. And Facebook messaging, I've had a lot of luck with Facebook Messenger. I have had a lot of luck with the Granges. The Granges, I love the Granges, like, because they have their own little council. The one Grange, I might have a second Grange permission, working on that. But they're old. They're old, like they're old buildings, but they have a council that covers them, that they talk about everything. If you want to metal detect, you ask one person, they bring it up to the council discusses it. And once you have their permission, like, you're golden. Like, I get this all the time at Victor Grange. People will stop and be like, what are you doing? You can't do that. And I'll be like, I just bring up the council. I'll say I have permission from the council. The furthest in depth I had to go is I brought up the conversation. It was on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. I was like, look, I have permission. But it's like, what people don't get is every time I go there, there's at least 5 people who stop and ask me what I'm doing. And it's not a public, it's a public road, but it's a back road. So that, I mean, it's annoying because I'm stopping what I'm doing, but it means people are looking out for that area. That area is protected, which is cool, and I'm cool with that. But I don't like using phones. I don't like calling people to get permission. I will, as like a last resort, but like, I don't know what they're doing at that time. I don't know their schedule. Like, I compare other people's lives to my life. I have a busy schedule between YouTube, which is, I mean, it's a priority, but it's not like a life priority, and my own personal life, my family, my job, and college, which is taking up way too much of my time personally. I have a hectic schedule. There's no not busy part of my day. I will say this, one of my favorite properties or permissions that I got off of a phone call, and that was the Kennedy Estate. Big no trespassing sign. It was between the soccer field, which at the time I had found like the most amazing, probably one of my most favorite things is a tankard, and a public property that I'd been detecting at. It was between 2 spots. I was like, that's gotta be a great spot. And it was a huge sign. It was a huge no trespassing sign on a gate. And then it had the number. If you want permission, this is the number you call. The landowner gave me permission, thank goodness, but did a background check for, see if I had a criminal record, which I don't, amazingly. But I don't have a criminal record, and granted me permission, and that is the story of the Kennedy Estate. And people, I'll have to bite the bullet, dial some numbers, and actually speak with my mouth and talk to people. So a lot of people will go door knocking, and it works for them. Me personally, I'm social, but I'm antisocial. I don't want to go door knocking, but I will if I'm desperate. Door knocking to me is the same as calling them on the phone. If you don't know what stage they're in their life or what's happening at that moment, you never know what you're walking into. I veer away from door knocking. But this method that I'm about to talk to, I call it the approach method, has worked the best for me. It worked in Pennsylvania for different fields. It hasn't worked in Maine for getting into fields, but people's personal properties, it's worked. So you go, basically, like, especially with farmers, I always use the farmer example. If they're in their field and they're kind of chilling or like kind of working, but if they're kind of taking a break, that's when I approach them. So one of the most important parts of the approach, and I would say this for door knocking too, is how you look. Depending on where you go. If you're in the fields, if you're looking for permission in the fields, I would say it's all right to be in work pants, dirty work pants. I mean, you're in a field, like you're gonna get dirty. But if you're in a more urban area and you don't know people that live in that area, I would say a cleaner approach, a cleaner look will make you look more professional and will get people to actually come up to you. They will ask you about metal detecting and it'll pique their interest, and you can get properties from that. You can get permission from that. So it's how you dress and how you handle yourself, how you approach a situation or people is probably one of the most important parts in this approach method. It's worked. It works every time. It works every time. The best method, especially for places like Maine, is word of mouth. Maine is has this small town feel. So people will see you digging, stop, and talk about you. That's what people do. They talk about you. They judge you all over Maine. Small community mindset, which is cool, because if you're good at what you do, if you're good at talking to people and getting them interested in metal detecting in history, then people will come up to you, and people will find you on Facebook and be like, oh, that's the detector my friend saw, and they'll contact you, give you their permission. It's great. So how you treat people, and this is life advice too, how you treat people will help you out. If someone comes up to you and you act like a complete idiot and treat people like they're stupid, they're not gonna talk nicely about you at all. If your holes look like junk, they're not gonna say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna let him dig holes in my yard and then fill them in, and there's still gonna be holes there. So word of mouth probably is the best method. I'm lucky. I have a whole backyard, whole 2 yards to screw up that are my sister-in-law's and my own. I don't screw them up, and digging is fairly simple. And like, word of mouth, how you treat people, best method. The best method is word of mouth. Mainly Digger app. I don't know. Good morning, I am the Mainly Digger. I brought out the knife hand for that one. Yes, sir. Good morning, I am the Mainly Digger. I don't even know where the camera is. Good morning, I am the Mainly Digger. Knife hand. Knife hand. Good morning, I am the Mainly Digger.